Hey everyone, welcome to Kingdom Builder. Today we've got something special lined up for you. I'm sitting down with Justin Mitchell, a Christian hip hop artist, streamer, and urban digital missionary. We're diving into his journey and how he blends faith, hip hop, and gaming to connect with people and share the gospel in a whole new way. You won't want to miss the incredible insight he's got to share about his mission and the exciting season ahead. So stick around because it's going to be a powerful conversation. Let's get to it.
Let's go. Back in the day, I was a lunchline rapper. After that, I guess I was a punchline rapper. Then I got saved and Christ switched the swagger, traded pain in for purpose. Now the mission's what I'm after. Focused on my living, wifey and my children, Christ came down to give it up. You know that the spirit tough. Go ahead and call the bluff. Your weapons are not enough. Position when I'm spitting, these writtens are like prescriptions.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike Laxton with Kingdom Builder, and today we're diving into a very special conversation that's over 10 years in the making. I'm joined by an old friend and someone who's seen firsthand how faith, hip-hop, and gaming can come together in powerful ways. Justin Mitchell, formerly known as Premises. Justin, it's so great to finally have you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, man. No, it's an honor to be here, man. Thank you so much for inviting me on here. Thank you.
We've known each other for over a decade. Like we were talking off camera. I found an old video. It was over 11 years old of an interview we did with my previous platform, and
yeah,
you've had quite the journey, and I've seen it. You've kind of grown in very incredible ways.
Yeah.
So, kind of going back to your start, let's go back 10 plus years when you got started in Christian hip hop, particularly under the name Premises. Can you kind of take us back in those early days and share what drew you to music and ministry and how it all began for you?
Wow. We're taking it way back. I got to rewind the tape way back in, going back in the archives. I love it. So my journey started before the church, before my relationship with God. So my infatuation and my gravitation towards hip hop started, when I was young. I was always into music. I always enjoyed music. I grew up listening to stuff that my parents listened to, which most of the time was like it's mainly like classic rock stuff growing up, man. But then obviously, I listened to Michael Jackson, a lot of that. I would dance in my room. It was terrible, but I would try to be Michael Jackson or, you know what I mean? And then I remember my mom listening to like Tina Turner and stuff like that. And then it got to, more popular music around me in the sense of as I was in early middle school. That's when I think I really got introduced to hip hop in a different way. And some of the guys I was hanging with, playing sports with, because I grew up playing sports. So I'd hear hip hop being intertwined into that space a lot. And so friends and people I was associated with playing sports, I listened to hip hop, and I got into listening to Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes was the first rapper I ever heard that made me want to rap. I heard that a song called Dangerous, which I'm not promoting that, but I am saying that that's a song that I heard that made me, before I ever came to know Jesus. I didn't grow up in church, so I had no inclination of anything about God or anything until later on in life. And so, my love for hip hop started then, but my relationship with Jesus didn't start until my senior year in high school. And then it turned into my freshman year in college that I noticed there was this steady incline of seeing God's hand faithfully at work in my life, and just this pattern. And at that time, my music journey, I was rapping at this point. I'd been rapping through middle school, through high school, and I quit playing sports. And then it was a friend of mine who invited me to go to church with him, he had moved away from me, but we got back together as friends. I would like go to his house sometimes. He'd make beats. He was really dope on like the drum line, and he was like the only dude that would wear like a bandana on the drum line. He was almost like Nick Cannon back in the day, like, you know what I mean? But he would kill it. And so he started making beats, and then that turned into me, like, I'm rapping. So he'd make beats, I'd rap, and then I taught him into rapping. But the problem was I couldn't talk all the stuff I wanted to talk because his family was like, you can't talk the language you may want to use, Justin. Can't do that here. They were Christians, they were believers. And I compromised myself. Like, all right, that's fine. I don't have to do that. This is my boy. I like my friend, so I'll tone it down. And one time we were working on a specific record at the time, or just whatever track we were working on, and I didn't want to leave. And I was like, man, we got to keep working on this thing. And he told me to just roll with him to church the next morning and like stay the night, go to church. And I'm like, man, I don't do church though. He's just like, stay the night though, so we can work on this song. So I'm like, but you just got to go to church in the morning. I'm like, I don't do church anymore, man. And so I show up, man, I just remember this inkling to just, I was like, he told me to come as I am, just be you. So I show up, and at the time, early 2000s hip hop was baggy sweats and big hoodies, and which is kind of coming back into style now almost. But at the time, like that's what I was rocking. So I was like, okay, you told me to wear what I want, so I'm gonna show up. And I purposely wore the most probably slim shadied out outfit I probably had. And that's what I showed up and was waiting for somebody to just give me this side eye and this cold shoulder. And instead I got the warmth embrace of a elderly white lady came up to me, gave me this big hug, and was just like, it's so good to see another young person here. These people are great. You should, like, these young people are great. You should stick with them. And I was like, I know my friend's cool. I just don't know about these other guys, these other girls. Like, I don't know these young people from nobody. I know my buddy's cool, but yeah, man. And just later on saw that those people were, majority of them were really about a different type of lifestyle that I didn't know Christians to really live. Like a lot of people who were Christians were walking around that were my age, would in high school talk one way throughout the week and do things all throughout the week that was crazy contradictory to everything they would talk about on a Sunday. And so that was kind of what I would watch. And I was like, I don't want nothing to do with that. But these group of people had something different was happening, and God was really doing something. So that intrigued me. And the fact that the church was okay with me being myself. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. I guess I don't have to be boxed in fully to whatever that looks like. So yeah, that was kind of my journey later on. And I got saved, and then that turned me into where I was like, all right, how do I use this then gift of rap to start doing music different? And I think I was skimming through like a Walmart section trying to find a CD that was like this. The Christian section back then was like this small in Walmart. Like it was very small. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking like, this is ancient artifacts. For some of y'all probably like, what's a CD? What is that? Like these fine artifacts held content that were Christian. And so I'm like, Lord, there's got to be something in here that is hip hop based. And I found this spine of a CD that said DA Truth. It said the truth. And I was like, the truth. I was like, nobody spells their name with a DA and not be a rapper. So I took it, opened it up, listened to it, and that record changed the perspective and trajectory of my whole life after hearing the truth. And because he rapped well, his first song was him a cappella with no beat, just rapping. And I was like, oh, that's stuff we do. We didn't need beats. We would just rap. And like, then it was just crazy. So it just flipped everything over, and the rest was kind of history. You know what I mean? So.
And we'll go back to a little bit of that in a little bit, but
yeah,
transition a little bit. Let's fast forward to 2018, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You're stepping into the world of Twitch streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as someone who's been passionate about both gaming and faith, which we'll get more into that again in a little bit, how did you make that transition from music to streaming? And what was kind of the driving force behind that decision?
Yeah. So oddly enough, there was a season prior to 2018 that actually predates it, where I actually was using my Xbox to like connect with my audience as premises. Like for those who don't know, like I did put out this EP that was themed around the Green Ranger. I tried something different because I felt like everywhere where I went, Flavor Fest or any other festival or any local thing, any wherever, we kind of all dress and look and kind of the same. It's just kind of the same thing, which is not bad. That's a part of the culture, right? And I still do that. Like that's still me. But I was like, how do I want to do something different? And like, so this EP that I did themed around the Green Ranger, I had got the whole costume and the whole like legit suit, like cosplayed, went to Comic Cons and did all that. And while I was doing that, there was a season where I took my Xbox that I had and it had like the Xbox Connect, which is this camera that would connect to your Xbox that came with it actually. And you could plug it in and you could technically connect to Twitch from it and stream. And so I did that for like, I don't know, a couple months where like randomly I would pop up, I would put the helmet on and put my headset, my gaming headset over the helmet. And I would like talk and probably talk crap to people too. Like, cause I'm playing Halo. I'm trying to connect with my audience too. That was just a way that I was like, how can I have like a little bit of a fan base, like it's small, it's here, but I'm like, I can connect with them through this means. And that's what I used it for. But then in 2018, that was just me kind of like, I was in a different season. I really wasn't doing music as much anymore at that point. Premises had kind of, that era of my career and my journey had just kind of trickled off by the wayside for different reasons and different things that was going on in my personal journey, my personal life. And it's streaming and gaming just kind of like crept in as like started out as like hey, I just want to do this as for fun. And then it kind of turned into 2019 being like full time, where my wife gave me the green light and she saw like, I think you should do this for real. And then I do it. And then 2020, the world shuts down and it becomes, this was like, God, you hooked this up. I didn't even know that the world was going to shut down, but you started something at a prime time, man. So yeah, crazy.
Over those years, you and I didn't really have a lot of contact, but I think when you got back to, I think when the world shut down, it's like, hey, we kind of reconnected. And I remember watching, just hopping onto the Twitch, and it's like, this is good. It's very exciting, and even more recently, within honestly probably the last month or so, you recently talked about seeing yourself as an urban digital missionary. And definitely, it's a unique way to approach streaming and content creation. So with that, how do you see faith, hip hop, and gaming intersecting, and what role do they play in your mission to share that gospel to the next generation or new generation?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, for me, I've been in, being in hip hop culture most of my life, and then obviously since I was a kid, I've played video games all my life, and I gave up a lot of things to do music in my life. There was a lot of things I sacrificed. The one thing I never sacrificed was gaming. I always played video games. And the funny thing is, most of the artists and creatives that I were around, I would start finding myself, the one thing that I would end up having in common with another rapper or another band member or somebody I'd see on the road or something was it ended up being gaming. Gaming would be the very thing that would connect myself to other artists and other creatives within the Christian space, but also just the audience in general. Like if I'm rapping at a venue at a youth group event, or I was, even I have done like bars and clubs back in the day where I'd be the only Christian representing in the space, and I would rap the same stuff I would rap at a youth group in a bar in a club, and it would end up turning out like some of the conversations would lead to gaming. And so gaming is just threaded throughout the entirety of hip hop in general. Like you can listen to any Christian, secular, mainstream, doesn't matter. There's always going to be some kind of tie-in. A lot of times, not every time, but there's a lot of people who thread that even in their own creative lyrics and things that they say, to even compare already the gospel story to other gaming characters or things. And so it's been there. But I think, so that's another reason why I think like bridging the gap between faith, hip hop and gaming content creation spaces. I think it just makes sense because all of them they're all threaded kind of within out, but it's just the reality is I don't feel like anybody's really trying to specifically, a lot of times in the church, like don't go into those places because they don't understand it. So it's like, well, we don't really understand gaming like that. And so we just kind of leave it alone. We understand rap, we understand the music, but we don't really go into that world. And I'm like, the streaming and gaming world is threaded like in the gaming. You look at a game like Fortnite, they have a whole plethora of music tracks that are from artists, hip hop, Overload, pop. You know what I mean? Lecrae and Andy Mineo just landed as a a soundbite to Fortnite, which is one of the world's biggest games out there. And so it's like you're already starting to see faith in it. I mean, I don't really consider NF necessarily always Christian rap artists like that, but there is somebody that's still kind of similar from that. It's in there. So it's like there's stuff happening.
One thing I've noticed too, going on to your Twitch, is that just more recently within the last few days, is that you've built a very loyal and strong supportive community. And that seems it's slowly growing, which is great. So what I've noticed that it's not just about the entertainment, but also about helping people grow spiritually, find hope, and discover purpose in your lives. So how have you been incorporating that? Like, I know, but tell us, tell the people, like, what have you been doing just to kind of, to make that a safe place for people to go?
It's crazy because I feel like sometimes this kind of answer could get complicated for some people, but for me, I just try to keep things simple. I've heard this acronym, I guess, for KISS is keep it simple, stupid. And I heard that and I've been like, wow, that's so true. And I think that even in what it is that we do in ministry, and for me, I've always looked at myself as some type of like, I feel like I'm always on mission. I feel like everything I touch or do has always been just like, how do I use this for God's glory? Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, I enjoy like Dragon Ball card game, right? Like I enjoy that. It's a fun little hobby for me, but it's also like, why do I enjoy this thing so much? Why do I enjoy this? For some reason, I enjoy Dragon Ball. Why do I like this so much? And it's like, I believe every passion that we're given is for a reason. And so like, for me to enjoy something with an excessive amount of joy, or like, man, I really enjoy this thing, then maybe there's a reason why you really enjoy it and you can use it for something bigger than just your own enjoyment. Like, and then, so for me, it's been just being authentically me. I'm trying to just be myself and be who God's called me to be, and step more into that, because I know I've always heard people, be yourself, be who God's called you to be, and not be like somebody else. And I'm like, what are the things that make me uniquely drawn in this space? And it's those things. I look at myself and I see myself as this person who's cut from hip hop and urban culture. And I've always desired and served in a lot of those places. But then on top of that, like, I'm a gamer, and I love being in gaming community and being in that place, like whether it's Comic-Cons that I was doing or on stream, talking to gamers and competitive gamers or casual gamers, it doesn't matter. There's kind of this duality in that. But I'm like, a lot of these people in this space don't really have people of faith popping up on their radar like that. And they're not searching for a church. They're looking for a community in these spaces. And so for me, it's just be like, hey, I'm just going to be myself, and I'm going to use hip hop as the tool that I know God has allowed me to use it as. And we're going to play video games. We're going to have fun. We'll talk a little bit of smack competitively, because I'm competitive, just like being on a basketball court. And you know what I mean? But it's all love at the end. And we try to find ways to, while we're building community, there'll be people in the chat that while I'm live streaming, somebody will have something they're going through, or we try to have intentional time where like, hey, let's just talk, man. How's life? How's this? And the community will just fire off in the chat in live real time. And we get a chance to speak life into these people's situations right where they're at. And we don't have to like wait for them to come to us necessarily. We're already existing where they're living and breathing at in real time. You know what I mean?
And I think that's important to keep engaged with the audience, because that's, you got to keep them somehow. And from seeing what you've done and seeing there's times where you're not playing a game, you're talking to the audience, and you're answering the questions and really just, like I said, speak life. But with, of course, gaming, there's a lot of maybe possible challenges that you might face while trying to keep your content authentic. Can you explain how you kind of balance that while trying to keep your audience engaged and still enjoyable at the same time?
I was actually just talking to a parent of a student at my church just last night, actually. She was talking about how her son is like 13, loves video games, loves Fortnite, huge Fortnite gamer, loves. And she's like, I have to take away Fortnite like once a week because it's the one thing that I feel like he only wants to do. Like he'll do sports, he does all that, but if I take away gaming, like if I threaten that, he'll go do whatever it is I ask him to do. But if I like don't, like I have to use it all the time. And she's like, I don't understand how there's all these different things because she doesn't understand gaming world. She doesn't understand a lot of it. And so I'm explaining to her like just how things are in gaming and just what stuff looks like. And I'm like, you know, gaming back in the day looked way different than what it does now. It's completely night and day different. You know what I mean? From my parents' generation and their parents' generation, my grandparents or whatever, like gaming was always looked at as a waste of time. It was a waste of time. Like, and I mean, honestly, it was like when I was younger, I remember telling my mom, like, I was like, man, if I get paid to play video games, like that would be great. And my mom's like, yeah, that doesn't happen. Like, you can't do that. And she was like, you'd have to like, Justin, if you want to do video game work, you have to like learn how to code. You learn how to, like, you got to go learn how to make the design characters and 3D models and make that. That's how you get to be able to play video games for a living. Like, that's the only way you could do it. And so now it's crazy because I've had to have conversations with parents in my own churches to be like, hey, you realize like your son or daughter, right, wants to play this game that you're like, they just need to get off the games. I'm like, nowadays, kids can get full ride scholarships on esports, on Fortnite, or there's a couple other games, man, that have the ability to do that, to grant you the ability to do what only sports could do back in the day. Now it's like there's a new place that's living and breathing that's able to foster that type of thing in future for kids that we didn't have, and most parents don't understand how that's even possible. But that's only one thing, because then on the other side of it, you got what I do, which is streaming and content. A kid could hop up on stream and start doing what I'm talking about with you, and that's just another realm and another way to provision for someone, which was never possible. And so I think what's interesting though about your question is like when the complications get tricky for the Christian in this space, sometimes, because I can't control who comes into my room, right? I can't control, I'm showing up on their territory, right? I'm placing like fish, like we're going to be fishers of men, right? So if I'm throwing my line out to this spot in the water, I don't know if a bass is gonna bite it. I don't know if it's this. I don't know if it's a catfish. I don't know if it's a fly. I don't know what the way, but it might be a shark. I don't know. And so that's the reality of the waters that you're dealing with when you're out there. So you got to know that. And it's like, but me going out into that, I know what I may run into. And there are things you can set up as kind of defense mechanisms or things that will help maybe protect the culture of the environment within the community that you're building. You know what I mean? There's ways to mod the chat. You can have somebody, like I could have you watching my chat while I'm talking. And if somebody's acting really crazy, you could quickly boot them out. I can make it to where somebody says something that's a little spicy that they shouldn't say in the chat. That I don't really particularly want younger eyes to see. There's ways to get that to be filtered for the most part. So there's ways on that, but like when somebody jumps up in the headset and it gets a little spicy because we're competitive, I think it really in those situations, it goes into like, hey, we're human, and there may be moments where somebody's humanity pops off a little bit brighter than somebody else's, or maybe even my own. You know what I mean? I'm human too. So there may be moments where I've had a crappy week. I don't know. I'm up here gaming and somebody says one thing and I'm live streaming. So somebody who's watching it back or watching it might be like, I may have gotten a little too, maybe I got too, I don't know. But here's what I think is good is that in real time, hopefully people can watch how that can go on display for a moment, but hopefully watch how the community rallies back around and you see somebody own that and then walk in forgiveness. And we get to do that in real time. So you're like, it teaches somebody else like, wow, like I didn't have to like throw my controller and get mad and rage out, like, and just leave the room and never be cool with anybody again. I can still talk this through and seek unity and peace and be a peacemaker. Like, right? Like, that's what we're called to be, not just peacekeepers. There's a difference. And so for me, it's like, there may be some spicy, crazy moments that pop up, but how am I making peace in that? Is there a way to find a way to make peace? And making peace is a lot more difficult than keeping the peace. Keeping the peace is a lot more just passive, don't say nothing. You know what I mean? But peacemaking sometimes can make spicy moments pop up. But I think, you know, that makes for good content, but it also is like, hey, this is how we should probably handle some of our own stuff in our real life too. You know what I mean? So
you've created a community. It's a safe space. Again, there's a good amount of people in there. One thing I like that you do with your stream is that you occasionally have other people be able to join you in playing, whether it's Fortnite, whether it's any other games, Call of Duty. I know recently, any of those other games you played, which is great because, you know, number one, they get to interact with you, which a lot of streamers, you don't get to do that at all.
Right.
So that, I think that has a drawing factor. Plus, you know, you know, there could be conversations going on and you know, whether it's uplifting them because of a season they're having or anything like that. It's, yes, there might be those other things going on that you mentioned, that the other negativity that might be there, but you're going to get that anywhere. So why not better place to have it than somewhere where you're going to have positive interaction and places where you're going to get the better side of things. So I think it's an amazing mission you've got going on and really seeing where that is. But when you went Twitch streaming back in 2018 and in 2020, of course, full time, essentially doing it full time, you kind of stepped away from music. But earlier this year, it seems like you've kind of felt a calling back to that. So how does that fit into your current season of life, and what does that mean for you to kind of begin releasing music publicly again, especially in light of everything you've built in the streaming space?
2018 to 2022, early 2022, I had to put streaming kind of down because I took a vocational ministry position doing high school ministry in my local church. And I was still streaming, but just not like with a schedule, and like consistency was not there anymore. And I knew that was not going to be the case at this specific space I was in. And it was on a whole different streaming. It was under a different name, similar to my rap career, right? Like Premises, that kind of went down. And then here's this new rebirth and this new relaunching of things. And so in a similar sense, that's what's kind of happened with my streaming stuff. Like I still have my other platform that I kind of grew and built and tailored around 2018 through 2022. It still exists, but it has a different mission, has a different thing that it's a part of. It's more for my niche Dragon Ball like fandom stuff, which is cool. But this, my Justin Mitchell, my personal streaming stuff for me to play and do the things that God's called me to do, specifically outside of just my enjoyment of, you know, Dragon Ball content, is like, hey, it's embracing all those things, right? Like faith, hip hop, and gaming all in one. But me getting back into music, I've always done music even when I wasn't putting it out. Like, I mean, I've tried to compare it to, like, you know, somebody who plays guitar, like even though they're not in an active band, the guy still has his guitar on the wall. The guy probably still plays it off and on at his house, does little stuff here and there, still finds enjoyment to pick it up from time to time. He just doesn't, he's not on a stage anymore. He's just kind of at home, like doing whatever. And so that was kind of me. And there was a time in 2021 where I did my streaming community at the time. We were, I think, we were doing a fundraising event where we were raising a charity stream, and we raised a certain amount of, like, I had like a goal to meet. And I said, hey, if we meet this goal, like, some of y'all know me from music stuff, I'll go take a month off streaming and I'll go rock in the studio and make a whole project for free and give it to y'all. And we raised more than that, and I was able to go and make a whole project in 2021, which was cool. And then, so recently, I just started feeling like, man, like the Lord like started showing up in different ways and stirring things back up in me with writing, and was like, I was like, God, like, do you want me? Are you trying to tell me to like put stuff back out? Like, do I need to start putting music back out again? And like, because every conversation I get in with people, it doesn't matter if when I was active stream rapping or not. Like, it would always be how people introduce me to somebody else. Like if somebody introduced me to you, to be like, hey, Mike, this is Justin Mitchell. He's a rapper. He's a pastor. Oh, okay, great. Like I'm not really actively rapping anymore, but like, I mean, I still rap, but not like that, like I used to. And so, yeah, man, I don't know. I picked it up earlier this year as a means to, I started working through that. And then around going into the summertime is when I knew like, okay, I need to put this stuff out. And so I started putting out, I just dropped a couple singles and I've got a couple other ones in the works right now. But the streaming stuff was kind of coming together around it to be like, hey, like I think before I was more of a rapper that was a streamer. Now I feel like I'm more of a streamer that does rapping in a sense. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes, I am a rapper. That's always going to be, I will always rap. I will always enjoy that. It's my, a lot of people have a prayer booth. I have a prayer, or a prayer. So a lot of people have a prayer closet. I have a prayer booth. Like I get in the booth, I write. I like to do that. It's a way for me to therapeutically release things, and then also like share the gospel with people and share truth with people and hope with people. So I've seen how transformative it can be. So I'm always gonna do it, and now I've just learned how to fuse it all together. And actually, I rap on my streams sometimes, and I will. You know, I'm working on a couple things to make like even my intro to my streams have my music incorporated and do things. So, yeah, that's kind of, and you know, and we're bringing Christian rappers that I know and other guys into the space to continue to elevate the genre that I feel like needs more eyes on it. So I'm like, man, like how can I not just make my platform about my music, but how can I elevate other guys and girls with their music and their creativeness, so people can get a taste of what they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that is definitive of the urban digital missionary moniker, I guess, if you want to call it that you've felt called to be doing here recently with over the last few weeks. And so with that, what are kind of your hopes for the future of that title? You know, because 2025, I'm sure is going to be a huge year for you. What do you have planned? What kind of long-term things are we looking at?
Man, I honestly, I mean, I have goals that are being built out, honestly, week by week, month by month. I mean, and, you know, you ask anybody else who's kind of a missionary in any type of missionary field, I feel like you can have a plan until there isn't one. And sometimes those plans get drenched. And like, I know what my plan is. The goal is to just continue to elevate Jesus and make him known through any means of those three things, right? By showing of faith, showing of utilizing hip hop and gaming as the tool to reach people. And so that's the goal. That's always the goal. But how we do that is still being like tweaked. It's still kind of, I'm still learning some things. But man, it's just, there's a lot of things I wish I could fully announce right now that's happening behind the scenes that's like really cool to talk about. And maybe we'll do a part 2 to this that once it does get announced, because there's some things that's happening already behind the scenes that like I'm really, 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 really excited about. That's going to, I think, flip some things on its head, not just for the space. I think because I think what we're doing is something totally unique that there's really not any other representation hard in the specifically urban Christian environment to give that type of breathing room. I think that's just my lane that God's called me to, and I'm trying to find a way to continue to elevate as many voices and people, and I want to see a community of believers rally behind it, and we all are able to rally around other hurting, broken people that are in the world that'll show up in these streams that may otherwise would have never shown up at a church door, but they'll show up at a Call of Duty door, or they'll show up at a Fortnite door, and they'll get in our Discord community and find that there's genuine people that care about them, that care about gaming and care about other stuff that, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times churches don't know what to do with. And so, yeah, that's what I'm excited about, man.
And again, it goes back to that definition of being an urban missionary. You're out there, you're fishing for men, literally. Like you're going out and trying to bring people in who might not normally see that. So they're like, hey, who's this Justin Mitchell character? They hop in like, whoa, cool. He's like, he's talking Jesus, what? but hey, you do it from a very relatable way, and I think that's going to really draw in that audience. And again, something that why I really wanted to talk to you, besides us being friends for so long, but I think it's just your goal. It's very exciting, and a space that me having a 16-year-old, my son Anthony, and he's totally into gaming and trying to find that balance and be like, whether it's from hey, you can play in a safe space with other people, or just even future career, like you said with your mother, it's like, oh, at one point you want to get into gaming and make it a job, but again, you got to do coding, like you said. But now there might be a space for that. And
the cool thing is if you ask a young kid right now, middle school, high school, what do you want to be when you grow up? Mm-hmm. A lot of times when we were younger, it's like a lot of kids wanted to be athletes. A lot of kids still want to be athletes. But then you have a lot of kids now that the people that they look up to are influencers and people that are on stream, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok. Like, that's the people that they're watching and being like, they look at like a Logan Paul or, all these different guys, man, that are out here that end up gaining their attention because these guys, like, they made it from streaming and making videos and now they're doing X, Y, and Z. And so they think that's what I want to do. And what I would like to propose is that more Christians showing up in these spaces means we have other means of, like, for me, when I was rapping, I didn't know that I could rap and share the gospel through that medium. I didn't know. I thought I had to, the stuff I was doing was all like this is what I do though. Like if I come to Jesus, that means I got to sacrifice my passion and love for my art and what I love to do with my friends and how I do. Does this mean I got to sacrifice that when God's like, no, like I can redeem that thing and use it for a different purpose. Mm-hmm. And so I think the beauty in what this is that it allows somebody like your son and other people's sons and other people's daughters to see things and be like, wow, like this is a safe place. And this is somebody who, you could watch, you could be involved with and see that, like, you don't have to talk like everybody else. You don't have to do all the same things. You can still be in it, but not in it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not of it all the way. Like I'm here, but I'm not doing the same thing everybody else does. Mm-hmm. We're going to do this a little bit different and we're going to make much of Jesus. And we're still going to be able to be like, wow, like he's still able to be in some of the same rooms with some of these other guys. And now he's an influencer to the influencers I know. Like that's I don't know, that's a win, right? Like,
yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And thinking about that and your, others who are watching and essentially you're being mentors to these other people and being that influencer, obviously they're going to start wanting to think about starting their own journey, particularly maybe in the sense of, like, as we're talking about, blending their faith with their passions, whether it's gaming, music, or something else. Over your course of your years of doing the gaming, the music, and such, what particular words of advice would you probably give to somebody who wants to blend their passions together but stay true to their calling and mission? What kind of something maybe you've learned along the way, some sort of tidbit, just to kind of encourage the audience, say, hey, this is something you might want to know? Or
yeah, I mean, I would just say, man, like, I mean, it sounds borderline cliche, I guess, but man, just the things that you love and enjoy, a lot of times they're for a reason, right? And so maybe it's not, for me, I love shooter games. I enjoy shooter games. I enjoy competitive gaming. It's a fun thing for me. So a lot of the games that I play are going to be in those areas, right? Most of the time. And a lot of hip hop is competitive. A lot of guys are competitive. Girls are competitive. That's why we have battle rap. That's why we have different stuff. There's a part of that is competitive. I think, like, whatever it is that you're doing, right? Like, I think it's in Corinthians where it talks about whatever it is that you do, whether you eat, sleep, or drink, whatever you do it for the glory of God. So it's like, it doesn't matter what it is, like that whole whatever you do, whatever it is, how can I use this to glorify the Lord? I think pray about it and be like, how does how can I use this thing on this platform to make most of Jesus? Like, how can I connect with people and love them, right? Like, and yeah, make it simple, you know?
KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid.
That's it, man. Keep it simple, stupid. Do it. That's it.
So before we go today, how can someone tune into your stream, of course, and also your music and your socials?
We'd love to have you if you're watching this and you're very interested in seeing like what is going on over here. I would love to see this in real time. Like, this sounds very interesting. I've never heard of this. I've never seen it. Great. We would love to have you and put you on game and let you see for yourself kind of what this is, and type in the chat, ask questions. I will gladly answer. I'm an open book. I tell people all the time, I'm an open book to anything. I'm not afraid of really any question. I'm always like, nothing's off limits for me in a sense. For the most part, I'll go in. But yeah, you can check out twitch.tv/Iam_Justin Mitchell. Or you can check me out on YouTube as well, because we stream over on YouTube as well. So just look up Justin Mitchell on that as well. I believe it's the IM_Justin Mitchell on the URL. And yeah, on social media, it's the same thing. IM_Justin Mitchell. And I'm on all social media, TikTok, Instagram, X or Twitter, whichever one still throws me off. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
And then for your music, I would assume.
Yeah. And the music, music's all over. It's just Justin Mitchell. Yeah. Everything's Justin Mitchell. Apple Music, Spotify, wherever music can be found, that's where you'll get it. Yeah, my music videos all on YouTube, all that kind of stuff too. So,
well, sounds good. And we'll definitely put some of those links there in the description of the video.
Hey, appreciate it.
But definitely thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story with us today. It's been incredible to see how God's used your journey to impact so many. And I can pretty much guarantee that we're going to definitely have a chat as news gets released about things in the future. I think it'll be seen how your journey evolves even further, and seeing how your story is going to continue to inspire others.
And praise God for it. I appreciate you. Thank you, Mike.
Be sure to check out Justin's stream on Twitch and follow along as he continues to build his community and share the gospel in exciting, creative ways. We're excited to see where this next season takes him. And hey, if you enjoyed the interview, don't forget to like, share, and comment below. Be sure to also hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you never miss a new video. For more inspiring content, also make sure you visit the Today's Christian Entertainment website through the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, what up? This is Justin Mitchell, and you're rocking with Kingdom Builder, where faith meets culture and conversation.